So hello and welcome to another episode of TopTenz. I'm your interim host, Karl, and today we're talking about 10 wild and lesser known facts about Yosemite National Park. And as with all the videos on this channel, this one's based on original script by a member of our writing team, that being Jesse Clark. Give him a follow at the socials below, and while you're there, let us know in the comments where's the most outstanding area of natural beauty you've been to. I've travelled to a few places. I don't think anything for myself has ever just topped the moment of just absolute just wonder I got when I travelled to China to visit a friend and visited the top of the Great Wall. Because fun fact, they sell beer at the top of the Great Wall of China. There's people who just drag up coolers up there and just having a beer at what felt like the top of the world. One of my closest friends, as we just sat there at the top of the Great Wall, just looking out over all of Mongolia, was an incredibly humbling experience, and I'm curious if anyone's had a similar one to that. But with that out of the way, let's get to it. So Yosemite National Park, first established in 1890 in California's Sierra Nevada, is one of the most gorgeous and well-preserved areas of natural beauty on the planet. So it's no wonder the place is filled with secrets, and we've managed to compile a list of fascinating secrets and hidden gems about the park so you can prepare for your next trip. And I'm very excited for this one because I do want to visit more national parks in America. So, number 10, the Lost Arrow Spire. Lost Arrow Spire is a prominent rock formation in the park. It's a lesser known attraction compared to the other iconic landmarks in Yosemite, like El Capitan or Half Dome, the former of those being a word I especially enjoy saying, El Capitan. The spire stands fairly tall at approximately 2,290 feet, or 698 meters, above the floor of Yosemite Valley. Its distinct appearance and challenging climb make it an attraction for rock climbers seeking a thrill. The most popular climbing route is known as the Lost Arrow Chimney. And what is it with rock climbing? How come every time I get a date on Tinder, it's like, let's go rock climbing? How about now? How about we go out and get a coffee and we stay on the ground? How about that? What many people may not know is that Lost Arrow Spire is also home to an iconic highline walk. In 2015, professional highliner Dean Potter and his team successfully completed a daring highline walk from Yosemite Falls to Lost Arrow Spire, a breathtaking feat that highlighted the incredible beauty and adventure that Yosemite National Park offers, and a thing that I would never do because screw going up that high. The Spire continues to captivate outdoor enthusiasts and climbers, showcasing the awe-inspiring wonders of Yosemite beyond its more famous landmarks. Number 9. Yosemite's Ancient Lakes. Yosemite, known for its stunning waterfalls, towering cliffs, and diverse ecosystem, was shaped by the forces of glaciers and rivers over millions of years. It's home to numerous ancient lakes, both big and small. But let's shed light on an often overlooked aspect, the ancient lakes that played a key role in the park's very formation. One of these ancient lakes was the aptly named Lake Yosemite, which existed millions of years ago during the Miocene and Pliocene epochs. It covered a significant portion of what is now known as the park. Over time, geological shifts and changes in the Earth crust caused the lake to drain, leaving behind the spectacular landscapes we know and love today. Lake Basin is another fascinating ancient lake remnant. It's the flat area you'll find near Tenaya Lake, which is believed to be the glacially scoured rock basin that once held an entire ancient lake. These remnants offer a glimpse into the park's most ancient past, telling a story of an evolving landscape and the geological forces that have shaped Yosemite into the breathtaking wonder that it is today. And I can only hope that throughout this video, my, let's be honest, grating voice is accompanied by just the wondrous images taken of Yosemite National Park to form a truly obnoxious juxtaposition of content. Number 8. John Muir and President Roosevelt's camping trip. John Muir, the renowned naturalist and environmentalist, had a profound influence on the preservation and appreciation of America's natural landscapes, including Yosemite. He believed in the spiritual and aesthetic value of the wilderness and was instrumental in establishing Yosemite National Park in 1890. During his camping trips, Muir would immerse himself in nature, seeking to understand and ultimately protect its beauty. In 1903, President Theodore Roosevelt joined Muir on a camping trip in Yosemite. This excursion was aimed to showcase the park's majestic scenery and discuss various conservation efforts. For those of you who don't know, Roosevelt was an avid outdoorsman and a strong advocate for conservation. So much so, he reportedly shot almost every animal in the Natural History Museum of America. Just let that contradiction sit in people's mind for a second before moving swiftly on. The president's experience during this trip greatly influenced his conservation policies, eventually leading to the expansion of the national parks and the creation of the United States Forest Service. Their friendship, and this expedition in particular, played a huge role in shaping US environmental policy and the establishment of national parks around the world. Number 7. Yosemite's tallest waterfall. Yosemite National Park is home to some of the most captivating waterfalls, among them being the iconic Yosemite Falls and the majestic Ribbon Falls. Yosemite Falls, the tallest waterfall in North America, stands at an impressive height of 2,425 feet, or about 739 meters, cascading down in 3 awe-inspiring sections. The sheer force and natural beauty of Yosemite Falls are most pronounced during the spring, as the snowmelt from High Sierra feeds its thundering descent into the Yosemite Valley. On the other hand, Ribbon Falls holds its own unique charm, boasting the title of tallest uninterrupted waterfall in North America, plummeting approximately 1,600 feet, or about 490 meters, in a single uninterrupted drop. Ribbon Falls is a remarkable sight. Originating from a hanging valley, its graceful flow adds to the already stunning landscape of Yosemite National Park. Both Yosemite Falls and Ribbon Falls contribute to the park's allure, captivating visitors and showcasing the raw, natural power of water amidst the grandeur of Yosemite. And I don't think I've ever seen an actual waterfall. So I've always wanted to do the thing of sitting underneath one and just try to increase my power level, but I've never had an opportunity to. Number 6, the Firefall Tradition. The Firefall Tradition was a mesmerising spectacle that once graced the cliffs of Yosemite National Park, particularly Glacier Point. Starting in the late 19th century and continuing into the mid-20th century, this nightly event was a highlight for visitors. A bonfire was built atop Glacier Point as darkness fell. The embers were pushed over the edge, creating a breathtaking cascade of glowing embers resembling a waterfall of fire. Initially, James Macaulay, a hotel owner, began the tradition by pushing a campfire over the edge of Glacier Point in 1872. Later, David Curry, founder of Camp Curry, perfected the spectacle, drawing crowds and becoming synonymous with the Yosemite experience. The event was sadly discontinued in 1968, partly due to its environmental impact and changing attitudes towards such shows in national parks. And while the Firefall Tradition no longer graces Yosemite's cliffs, it's probably for a good thing, given all the wildfires in recent years, not to have a nightly tradition of throwing fire into the park. Its memory lives on in the park's rich history, evoking a sense of wonder and nostalgia for those who experienced or heard tales of this once enchanting nightly ritual. And just the idea of some guy just kicked his campfire off the edge of a glacier, and everyone's like, hell, goddamn yeah. Number 5, Miwok Indian heritage. The Miwok people are indigenous to the Yosemite Valley and surrounding areas, and their heritage is deeply intertwined with the land that is now Yosemite National Park. The Miwok were part of a large group of Native Americans known as the Ohlone, a collection of diverse cultures with their own languages, traditions, and of course, ways of life. For the Miwok, Yosemite was not only a natural paradise, but also a spiritual landscape. They held profound belief about the land, its features, and the animals that inhabited it. Their daily lives were centered around the abundance of resources the valley provided, including acorns, fish, game, and plant materials. The arrival of European settlers in the mid-19th century dramatically, but sadly unsurprisingly, impacted the Miwok and their way of life. Displacement, disease, and conflict led to a decline in their population and a significant disruption of their traditional practices. Despite these challenges, efforts to preserve and revitalize Miwok culture, language, and traditions continues to this day, and is greatly supported by everyone here at TopTenz. Because I remember I went to a museum in America, and it's just so much of Native American history is just lost because it was either deliberately destroyed or forgotten, and that sucks, especially for a country that's so dead set on remembering its history. Number 4, the Hetchy Reservoir controversy, which is a mouthful to say the least. And I say that as a small wood. The Hetchy Valley, located in what is now Yosemite National Park, was once famous for its natural beauty, often described as rivaling that of Yosemite Valley itself. However, the valley became the center of a huge debate in the early 20th century. San Francisco faced increasing demand for stable water supply due to its rapidly growing population and the aftermath of the 1906 earthquake and fire. Engineer and politician Michael O'Shaughnessy proposed damming the Tuolumne River in Hetchy Valley to create a reservoir that would provide water to the city. Many saw this as a practical solution. However, prominent figures like the aforementioned John Muir and the Sierra Club opposed the plan, seeking the preservation of Hetchy's natural splendour. They argued that the valley should be protected as a national park, likening its beauty to that of Yosemite Valley. Despite fierce opposition, Congress passed the Raker Act in 1913, granting San Francisco rights to the Hetchy Valley for the construction of the reservoir and dam. The O'Shaughnessy Dam was completed in 1923, and the Hetchy Reservoir became a crucial source of water and hydroelectric power for San Francisco, destroying what was left of the natural beauty of the aforementioned valley. Number 3. Yosemite's underground cave systems. Yosemite National Park is famous for its towering cliffs, majestic waterfalls, and pristine valleys, which, we've already talked about. It also harbours a lesser-known wonder just below the surface, the intricate cave systems that exist just below the ground. Yosemite is home to over 300 known caves, the most famous being the California Cavern, also known as Mammoth Caves, located in the park's limestone-rich western region. However, many caves are not open to the public to preserve their delicate ecosystems and protect visitors from the potential hazards therein. One of the most significant aspects of these underground formations is their role in shaping the region's unique landscapes. Caves formed over millions of years through geological processes like erosion and dissolution of rock offer a huge degree of insight into the park's geological history. Efforts are ongoing to study and preserve these caves while allowing limited access for guided tours, ensuring the delicate balance between conservation and exploration is maintained. And I've actually been to a cave in a American national park, and at first I was like all down for it. I'm like, hell yeah, I get to. I think the one I went to is near Tennessee or Kentucky, and it was also called Mammoth Caves. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. It's really like this huge underground part. So yeah, it is. But to get there, you've got to squeeze through, channels that were cut for people hundreds of years ago that were like 5 foot tall. And I'm 6'3", so that wasn't fun. And just halfway down there, I asked the tour guide, does anything live in these caves? To which the tour guide responded, well, just cave scorpions. Seeing the look on my face, they try to reassure me. No, they're not actual scorpions, they just look like scorpions. Okay, so how big did they get? To which the tour guide responded by saying, about that big, as they pointed over my shoulder. I saw about 100 cave scorpions crawling above my head as I went about my business trying to get between the different areas of the cave. I didn't find it very funny either. I just got out, and the first thing I said is, never again. Number 2, the Wawona Tree Tunnel. The Wawona Tree Tunnel is an iconic but small natural wonder within Yosemite National Park. It's not your typical man-made tunnel, but a fascinating product of nature's creativity and resilience. The tunnel was formed by a giant sequoia tree, arguably the only species of tree big enough to allow a small road to pass straight through it while remaining standing. You heard that right, the tree succumbed to natural factors and allowed the passage of horse-drawn carriages and eventually entire vehicles. This giant sequoia, estimated to be around 2,300 years old, was still alive when workers carved a tunnel through its base in the late 19th century. Initially, the tunnel was carved to attract more tourists, providing a unique and awe-inspiring entrance to the Yosemite National Park. Over time, the tree faced its natural life cycle and weakened. It fell in 1969 during a snowstorm. While the original tree tunnel is sadly no longer still standing, the fallen giant tree remains a popular attraction. And the fact that the giant remains of this tree are still there some 50 years later speaks to the resilience of nature. Also, that sounds rad. So I always get I get freaked out. Is it megalophobia? Like just really big things that shouldn't be that big. And when I see those pictures of people next to like sequoia trees, I'm like, no, trees shouldn't be that big. That's just a tree that's very close to the camera, and that guy's very far away. I don't like this. Speaking of which, number 1, Yosemite high altitude lakes. Yosemite National Park is covered with a huge number of high altitude lakes, each with its own distinct characteristics. Placed in the towering peaks of the Sierra Nevada, these lakes are hidden gems of the alpine landscape that many visitors are wholly unaware of. Among the notable high altitude lakes is Tenaya Lake, a glacial lake notable for its crystal clear waters and scenic backdrop. Situated at an elevation of about 8,150 feet, is a popular spot for swimming, kayaking, and picnicking. Nearby, Max Lake sits approximately 9,270 feet and is a perfect destination for a day hike. Another gem is the aptly named Sunrise Lake, located at an elevation of around 9,200 feet, again accessible via a hike through alpine meadows and granite formations. This lake is a tranquil spot to unwind and soak in the pristine mountain atmosphere, so if you go into the park, make a note to check at least one of these two out if you can walk 9,000 feet upwards. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment below, any feedback, suggestions, any other areas of the world you recommend people go visit. Subscribe for more content like this, and as always, as I like to say, have the day you deserve. And that last entry reminded me when I went to a place in Switzerland called Interlaken, so named because it's between two lakes, and it's known for like extreme sports and stuff like that. And I just remember like walking to one of these lakes, and it was so clear. Like you can just see straight to the bottom, and it's one of those things where it freaks you out that it's so clear, because it's like, no, it doesn't look that deep, and then you put your foot in it and you go like 6 foot in, and it's ice cold, like glacier water, and you nearly freeze, and you're like, oh, now I've got to walk like 5 miles back to my hostel. This sucks. That was also the place where I went, despite being scared of heights, was somehow convinced to go paragliding with a friend of mine. And that's why I was introduced to the concept of Swiss-German humour, which is very akin to British humour in that it's very sarcastic, very, very dry. But just the accent of a Swiss-German makes it altogether more believable. For example, while I was in the air, a good 5,000-6,000 feet off the ground, just the guy who was controlling the paraglider just said to me, have you seen any of those YouTube videos of eagles attacking paragliders? I'm like, no, I haven't seen those. Why? He goes, oh, good. A few of them were filmed around here, It's like, oh, thank you. Because I made the mistake of telling him I was scared, and then I noticed as we were floating around, seeing the area, that his hands weren't on the things to guide it, and I looked up and noticed this, and should your hand be on that? And he went, oh God, yeah, I'm so sorry. No, I'm kidding, you don't need them on there. Yeah, and then just helpfully inform me as we reach the apex of the trip. It's like, well, don't worry, no one ever dies doing this. Like, really? It's like, yeah, it's the ground that kills you, not the flight. And then he proceeded to do about 15 backflips as we went towards the ground. I screamed the entire time. It was great. I'd recommend it. Cheers.